I'll try and be precise because it'd be really boring if I went and told you my whole life story. But you might not know that every year 2 million people go through domestic abuse in the UK. It's costing the UK economy £15 billion. And I think it's one of the worst tragedies we have in the UK because it's not highlighted and it needs to be. There are lots of things you can do to prevent, and that's why I got into the industry, basically because I was getting divorced and I met people going through some terrible times and there was very little help. So hence the reason I set up an online portal so that people can get advice and tips and strategies. And I set up 21 steps to stress-free separation because it's really important, because a lot of abuse and domestic violence happen right at the end. So it's just really sensible, simple solutions which are difficult to achieve when you're in a dramatic or a difficult position. What I really enjoy is helping people. There is an old African saying, I have to read it: be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt. So there's a lot of advice out there, but there's a lot of people trying to make money out of people going through tragic situations. And it's really important that you get the correct advice. So all the advice we give is free because we are a charity. Separation Help is a charity. What I found really difficult is the statistics. Basically, last year, 2017, just under 2 million people, that's 2 million people went through domestic abuse in the UK. So the police are called out every 30 seconds. So this is really difficult. And it is costing, according to the Early Prevention Report, the UK economy £16 billion. That equates to about £2,000 per individual in the UK. So it's a real serious problem. And I've learned things I don't like hearing, and I think that by putting together a programme of prevention, and we've put a publication together called the 21 Steps to Stress-Free Domestic Abuse and Separation, then we can help people. I didn't do a degree course. I've studied the market for 7 years. I've done a lot of work with lots of very senior people. I've been working with psychiatrists down in London and Harley Street. I've been dealing with counsellors. I've done a lot of work and I've studied it, so I'm not an academic. I'm primarily a businesswoman who's now retired, but I have learnt everything I've learned through personal experience. So I know what it's like to get divorced or separated, and I also know there's often a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can get through it, and it doesn't have to be difficult, or hopefully it doesn't have to be difficult. It's about changing your mindset and getting through and living today in the moment and not over worrying about the future or stressing about the past. I got into it because people I met were going and spending a lot of money with lawyers. So I know one lady who spent £350,000 on her divorce. Was it worthwhile? Yes, probably. But there's an awful lot of people out there that can't afford those kind of bills. And actually, when you're getting divorced or going through any kind of trauma, sometimes you just need somebody to talk to. You just need somebody with an empathetic approach. And I just thought an online portal with forums and chat rooms put people together, and Separation Help Buddies is what we're talking about. Advice I'd give to you is be confident in everything you do. Just believe in yourself, because most of us don't believe, and most of us go through periods of self-confidence which goes up and down. But if you believe you can do it, then you can do it. And that is the most important lesson or advice I could give anybody, Just believe, believe, believe. And most people pull people down, especially if you're successful. It's really common. So ignore people that tell you you can't do this and you can't do that, because I'm telling you, you can do anything you want if you believe in yourself. My younger self is not to be so fearful. So I was always frightened of authority. I was frightened of my mother, I was frightened of my father, I was frightened of my parents. So much so that I couldn't actually do half the things I wanted to do. So fear of people is really unhelpful. And if I could repeat my life again, I would probably not listen to people that told me I couldn't, as I said just now, but I'd just be more pragmatic and really think about myself and care about myself and love myself. Because at the end of the day, it's really important that everyone is self-confident in what they want to do. I wouldn't change much, actually, because I've actually had a really good life. Although my parents, I was frightened of them. It was Victorian times, and in those times, you know, you had tremendous respect for your parents, of which I do. I'm very grateful for my parents because they gave me a good education. I had a tough life. We lived in a posh house, but behind the scenes it wasn't so posh. So we only had one meal a day and we had second-hand clothing. So it wasn't as idyllic as you think, but it taught me to be tough. It taught me to grow up quickly. I left home at 11, so that's a young time to leave home. And I think that what I've learned from my parents is being worthwhile. I've been in business for 25 years and loved every day of it. What I'm doing now is a challenge, but I'm determined to succeed.